Hello. Welcome to a special broadcast of Down There News. I'm your host, Avey Tare. Tonight we have the privilege of speaking with the creator of Down There, one of the members of the Animal Collective, Avey Tare. Hello, Avey.
Hey.
Tonight we wanted to welcome Avey.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, Avey.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, Avey.
Hey, how's it going?
Tonight we want to speak with you about your record Down There. How did the place Down There affect the making of the record? The environment of this place we're in here, I think, had some influence on the record.
Yeah, well, I guess the real squishy, watery, muddy sounds of a swamp, I think about walking through a swamp and your feet or your boots or whatever you're wearing when you walk through it, like getting sucked into the water or something like that, the squishy sound, and just vines hanging everywhere, dripping with water and dampness, just that dank feeling. It's kind of like a swamp at night to me in a lot of ways, where light just comes in here and there from the moonlight or whatever, and there's probably a lot of kind of like abandoned old shacks and docks and people rolling around in different canals here and there, and kind of like a lot of dead plant life.
Are there specific places you've seen in the world or that have looked like this as you've taken imagery from?
Not so much in person, really. Maybe in like Arkansas, there's swampland around there, and there's even a documentary called The Legend of Boggy Creek. That's about the prop monster that lives there, which is like Arkansas's Bigfoot. When I was growing up, we watched that movie a lot, and kind of got me into the swamps, and that kind of feeling.
And so that's the title came from swamps.
The title Down There, it's just like grown in meaning for me since I started making the record. It wasn't the title that I originally had. I threw around a lot of different titles, and then, I guess I just been kind of bummed out, for the most part, like while making the record. So for the most part, it sort of signifies, feeling down, and just the place you go into your head when you're feeling really bad. And I think it's like the record really signifies like a really inner place to me. It's a really inner record, inside record. I spent a lot of time while recording it, just thinking a lot, and just dealing with a lot of emotions and a lot of psychological issues, I guess, more while writing it, and then a little bit while recording it too. And so Down There sort of comes from that. It also kind of has a feeling of hell for me, I think I associate hell with like psychological turmoil. I guess I would never think that hell is like a real place that you go to when you die. It's more psychological like that than that to me. Maybe it's a real place where you face psychological issues, and I guess I don't know. The sense Down There is kind of like a psychological swamp of inner turmoil and emotional problems and difficulties, and working through that, and all of that kind of like being like the damn vines and everything you gotta kind of like get through to get to the other side. I'm into mythology and stuff like Dante's Inferno, that kind of vibe where you're traveling, you're going on a journey. It's like taking around the river Styx,
Yeah. Are there other literature or movies or anything that had an influence on the record or influence on the writing or the imagery in the record?
Nothing specifically. I guess just that vibe has always inspired me. But I guess I'm always trying to create my own thing in a sense of, like creating my own piece of fiction or something like that, but it's not really fiction.
It's all pretty real
life. It's all pretty real life, inspired by real things, and everything I write based on something that's happened to me. I might write it in kind of more fictional manner, but to me it's definitely like a real thing. It's not like I'm making anything up. But I read a lot of ghost stories and read a lot about the occult and mysticism, and I think that all kind of finds its way in there, you know.
Yeah. And what about the crocodile?
Well, I really like the crocodile just because it's just really old feeling and ancient. You know, the species has been around a really long time, and there's some kind of knowledge that comes with that. You know, that sort of like knowledge is like craft onto a species as it evolves. You know, but it sticks with it. You know, from the moment it sort of appears on Earth or in the universe. That kind of thought, that idea of something being that old and that ancient is really inspiring to me. I also just like the fact that they're really, on the one hand, like really calm. They don't, they sleep a lot, and they're like statues almost so much of the time in the sun. But on the other side of it, they're really vicious animals, bloodthirsty meat eaters that have a vicious way of attacking and killing their prey. Something about that too.
Yeah.
I like the texture of their skin and just the way they look, of course, too, is amazing to me. It's the reptilian look. It's really cool.
The cover has the texture vibe to it.
Well, on the one hand, the cloth that's on the cover to kind of feel like dank and swampy, but also kind of looks sort of like something old. Maybe you would find that would wash up on the shore, like old books, years and years from now, that just would contain all this knowledge or these feelings from this specific place and time.
Mm-hmm. But also has a futuristic vibe to it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess musically, that's the music side to it. I don't know, just trying to do something that feels futuristic, working with sounds and song forms or song structures that just feel like they're coming from a futuristic place. I feel like dance music to me and like techno music, a lot of music from the 80s, kind of has this like futuristic feel to it, or back then like it was supposed to be music from the future. There's so much like looking back these days, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but even if it sort of dates music in a way, like music from the 80s feels kind of dated, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's sort of cool that it still has this like futuristic feel to it. So I don't know, I guess I just think about it in that way.
Yeah. When did you start writing the record?
Probably at the end. I started thinking about it at the end of 2008. I remember being in the airport and thinking about the song Goes to Books, which was going to be a lot faster, actually, when I first started thinking about it. And I just wanted to make this song that kind of had one element to it, like a riff almost, that just stayed the same, and then the song would kind of evolve subtly in some way over top of that, and so I started working with these sequences of oscillators, and trying to create that, but do it in a way that was more like, real rubbery sounding or something, which is how it sounds to me. But then kind of like, and I tried doing that song a number of ways. I started recording this record on my 8-track, actually, in my house, like my reel-to-reel half finished, and I was like, I'm going to do this all on 8-track with 8 tracks, no matter how long it takes, and I'll just bounce, and I'll do all this stuff.
Do you have versions of that song on your 8-track?
I think, yeah, I do, and it always sounded a little flat, because we're just trying to record stuff in my apartment. I just never got really comfortable doing stuff. They were doing everything there. I mean, I was happy with certain things that I did there and kept some stuff. Once the swamp feeling once I realized that this is gonna be like this swamp record, like, you know, Ghost of Book started kind of a lot faster, and I was like, no, I want this, I want it all to feel like you're getting caught up in the mud, you know, you're like stuck somewhere, and you gotta like get out of there, like when you're in a dream, and you know those dreams where you like you can't run very fast, or you're like stuck. I kind of wanted it to be like that, so I like slowed it way down, and I just kept thinking, as I was making the record, like, no, slow, it's gotta all be kind of like this, like, slow vibe, you know, like in this.
How is writing this record different from writing with Brian and Noah?
Well, I mean, I guess the obvious answer is that it's just me writing. Especially having not done anything like this, like really conquered a record in a while, or had undertaken such a project on my own. You know, when I'm working with Brian and Noah, you know, it's like I immediately have like two other heads, two other, you know, brains or whatever, or wherever music comes from, to keep it going. You know what I mean? So it's like if I have an idea, that's just one part of what's like moving everything forward the whole time. It's like those guys are always like, yeah, okay, let's do this. So in the studio, it's always like somebody being like, let's do this. And it's easier to know what's cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's gonna, like, what sounds good, what, you know, because you have two other people that are like, no, that's not good, or, well, yeah, that's sweet, like, and it just moves forward a lot faster. You just have to trust your own instincts when you work by yourself, you know, and that's something I definitely had to get used to, you know, and now that I have a lot more of, like, specific ideas, and because I wanted this to be so specific, and to be something at the end where I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to create, you know. It's just, it took a little bit long. I mean, it didn't
Took longer than Animal Collective
No,
record?
it didn't really take much longer than an Animal Collective record, but the whole recording process, I think, could have taken. I definitely got these songs finished in my head a lot sooner than it got done recording. I mean, you know, it really took me being, like, approaching Josh and just being like, hey, man, you know, like, you want to help me record this, because I think it would just go a lot faster, because it just wasn't moving very fast. Like, I had all the ideas, and I know how I want everything to sound, but it's just, you know, having somebody that can just, like, man the controls, you know, and working on computer, too, which I can't do. I can't work by myself on computer, so.
And Josh did all that for you?
Yeah.
Did you bounce ideas off of him, or he just pretty much...
I mean, I think he would have told me if anything was, like, truly not that good. I mean, he helped me do vocal takes. I get really obsessed over vocal takes. And so, Josh really, you know, was really an ear for that, too. Like, just, you know, just being like, oh, yeah, this take, you know, because it's cool to have somebody there that hasn't, Josh wasn't familiar with any of the music when we started, you know, and probably stuff that would affect me emotionally, you know, so it's good to have somebody else there to be like, oh no, that's the take, you know what I mean, or, yeah, let's go with that one, you know.
Yeah. Do you write the lyrics before the music and then...
With this one, I did write a lot of lyrics before, yeah. But some of it I change, you know, as I go. It's weird because I usually, with this record, like with the Animal Collective stuff, we play it all live, so I sing it all
Before you record it?
before I record it, so I know how it feels to sing it and that kind of thing. And this, I didn't sing any of the songs until it was like time to do the vocal takes, really. Like I just heard all the vocal...
In their head?
Yeah, the vocal melodies in my head. And it's so weird to just, you know, start doing that all of a sudden. Just start singing, and then you realize, oh, this works, so this word doesn't work, gotta change that word, or this is even too wordy, you gotta make this a lot less words, and, because, you know, a lot of, like, the rhythmic hits of words are really important to me, and just the flow of the way it all works with rhythms and the song, so sometimes lyrics have to be changed based on that, or based on the way it sounds.
Yeah. You start thinking of the songs in your head, and you make all the parts of your songs in your head before you put them out there?
Sometimes. Usually I play them on like a keyboard, or I had stuff sequenced that I like sing over like in my head. All the melodies and all the instrumentation, it's all kind of written beforehand, and I can play it on things.
Before you record it?
Before I record it, yeah.
So you in your apartment,
You would just sit playing, like something like Laughing Hieroglyphic. I would sit in my apartment playing that on my keyboard along with the drum loop.
Oh, okay.
And that's basically like live, I mean playing that live, like over the drum.
Oh, okay. But you didn't have anything really pre-recorded before you made the record?
I mean, I had like the drum programming done, and some of the melodies that were sequenced oscillators I pre-recorded.
Okay. Do you think people are going to say the record's too dark?
I'm sure some people will. I'm sure Animal Collective fans that, like our more sugary stuff, I guess is the best way to put it, will maybe not be into certain things, but I think to me, it also has like a melodic vibe, like it's not abrasive or anything like that, but maybe that's just me, so. Dark in that way, I don't think so, but dark, definitely has a dark, more depressed vibe or something.
Mm-hmm.
Lyrically and melodically, I think there are a lot of like sad moments on it for me as well as uplifting. But I think like even the stuff that we do in Animal Collective, I mean we just tend to like that kind of music a lot. Like Noah and I always talk about it, like music that's like always tinged with a little sadness. I think we kind of have that vibe a lot. There's always like a hope in there, and I think there's a lot of hope in this record, and that was like the point of me wanting to do it on my own, just to like, go with that, to get out of certain ways of thinking, and get myself out of that. So nothing's ever like, there's no like defeatist attitude to anything, like the world is going to end or anything like that.
Because you did the record to get through a certain time.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel you had to make this record to like finish what the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think so. I think definitely now, having done the record, it's gotten a lot of like negative vibes off my chest, bad emotions, dark emotions, help me work through a lot.
Yeah, so what are some of the songs, like Heather in the Hospital and Twisted Books, and they all have sort of heavy vibes?
Yeah, I mean, the emotions of all the songs, just over the past couple of years, been dealing, with a lot of new things that happened in my life. Things got really strange between my wife and I, and we separated, and we're, still working out, like, just that whole process of wanting to kind of stay friends with somebody, you know what I mean, and not, like, watch something like that, like, fall to pieces, and struggling with that, I'm struggling with, like, two different ways of seeing a situation that kind of fell apart, dealing with that. My grandmother died around the same time, and that, like, affected me a lot.
Are there certain songs that talk about that?
Heather in the Hospital talks about that. It kind of ties that in. Heather, my sister, got sick with cancer around the time that my grandmother died. And so just being in the hospital a lot, and death is something that I think about all the time. Anyway, I think a lot of people probably think about it. It's an interesting topic to me. And I think this record, I always think about this record as like my death record. Not death for me. But things dying, things passing on, and being an Animal Collective, in a certain sense, has gotten me really accustomed to things, like having to change, and things moving on, and people doing their own thing, and like, I've seen Noah go through so many changes, and been around Noah and Josh's father's passing away, and just experienced all this stuff together, and we've tried to make our band work the whole time, and just stay strong, and it's tough, it's tough to like wanna like play music, especially professionally, and keep it going.
Going through things
like that, yeah. So it's just a kind of record for me dealing with stuff like that. And there are a lot of little deaths, you know. There are a lot of things you just have to like let die and let go away, whether it be emotions or people moving on in life, all that kind of stuff. It's all death to me. It's all part. It all culminates in death, you know. So, you know, in that sense, it's just like very death focused for me. A lot of the music.
Yeah.
And Ghost of Books is, yeah, that kind of vibe to me. It's like falling in love with, it verges between like falling in love with the past, actually. You know, our past ways of life, the way our society has changed, and move on in a way from something and clinging to something that's gone, maybe, or wanting to be different to, like, you know, falling in love with somebody, just a person, or however you want to look at it.
To that, the death and the, like, did you lay out the songs in a different order? Like, was that always how you wanted the songs, or?
No, I mean, I kind of, Laughing Hieroglyphic was actually one of the last songs I wrote, but once I had that song, maybe just because I liked it so much, that I was like, I always want this song to be first, like, whether people find it more, it's kind of an intense song, I think. It's not like the most catchiest song on the record or anything, but it always just seemed just like a good way to start it off, because it seems like the beginning of like this intense struggle or journey, you know, and just like laying it out there on the line and just being like, this is how it's gonna be, you know, or kind of for me, like being like unchanging, or, you know, I a lot of, you know, what I hope for is gone, but at least let me say this, you know what I mean, to somebody. You know?
Yeah.
So that was like a good way to start it for me. It's like getting something off my chest that feel like I need to say to people, because I feel like a lot of times for me, I'm not the best in like expressing myself to people, you know? I'm definitely better at it in music. A lot of people more recently, you know, Christian and other close friends of mine have gotten me to see that and really deal with that. From there, I mean, originally I think I wanted, since Ghost of Books is the first song I did, I think I always thought Ghost of Books would be the first song. But then I started thinking maybe the song is a little bit more harder for people to latch on to, you know what I mean? Maybe this isn't like the best album starter, because it's all about the music to me in the end, you know, and not like a concept or something like that. Even though I want it to feel like this movement or journey. So, yeah, I feel like slowly but surely the order just made itself known, and like the beginning became really easy, you know, like those first 3 songs or 4 songs, and then the end was a little bit tougher to figure out, but it's hard to figure out. It's always hard, even in Am, like to figure out what's gonna go last, you know. But I feel like it just made sense to put that whole come out of it. I think just because the middle part is a little bit darker, denser, and then kind of like the last, maybe more upbeat song that I had left over, whatever it was, Lucky One or Heather in the Hospital, into Lucky One, which is always together. I wrote them together. Like, to me, it's kind of one song, even though the vibe is different and it changes. I wrote it all as one thing, and like made a demo of it all as one, so that just seemed like the best way to end it. And I think Lucky One has a really positive feel to me. So.
Yeah.
Since I wanted the whole thing to take place down there, you know, in this environment, I kind of knew that it would be like a collage, you know, because I see it more of like a painting, you know. It's like something I would draw. You know, I even did a lot of sketches of what that place, you know, was like for me, you know, and did it all in that little sketchbook. And it's all black and white. It wasn't anything in color or anything, but you know, I definitely see it as this one. I was even gonna like maybe even include kind of like a map of what it all would be in the artwork. Maybe I might still do that for something, but yeah, it definitely is kind of like a painting or a drawing to me. So in that sense, I like collage. What I always, even in Animal like to talk about doing a lot of things in like a collage style, where like all little songs are like these little pieces, and then they're like these little interludes and stuff like that. You know, being inspired by like musique concrète or like, you know, collage, sound poetry, all that kind of stuff influences me. So,
No, they're all sort of like little skits.
yeah, sort of. They'll kind of, like little movies in themselves.
Do you think you'll ever play live?
Probably not. I mean, maybe, you never know. I go back and forth thinking like, oh, that'd be really awesome. It would definitely be a lot different, but to give the songs more of like a live feeling. But I definitely didn't want to do any shows before the record came out, just because I wanted that to be everybody's first impression of what these songs are. Just because I feel like I put a lot of work into them, like sounding that way. So it would be weird to play them in another way when I really want. That's what I really think the representation of those feelings and emotions are.
Yeah.
But it would be cool. I don't know. I have to think about it more. But I'm like definitely leaning more towards, the no side of things these days.
Yeah. Is there anything else with the record or music or anything you want to add or talk about?
No, I think I'd suggest that people listen to it at nighttime. I think that's the best time to listen to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, in
I
a
think-
darker environment. Maybe with some candles, I don't know, or not, or just completely pitch black.
I think listen to it all the way through.
Yeah, all the way through, I definitely see it as like I mean, and everything I feel like I've been a part of musically, I always feel that way. Maybe some certain things not that much, but this for sure, yeah, it's a whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for coming and talking about Down There.
All right, maybe I'll see you around.
Thanks for tuning in to Down There News, and thanks again to Avey Tare for talking to us about his new record. And I'll give you a chance, and have a good night.